Six Flags Fiesta Texas has 11 roller coasters with their 12th on the way, and I enjoyed riding most of these coasters. I did not get to ride every roller coaster at Six Flags Fiesta Texas, but I will address which ones I didn't ride when we get to those in the ranking. So yeah, you read the title of this video. I'm going to be ranking every single roller coaster at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. I'll also be including Kid Flash, even though it has not been built yet. Just by analyzing the layout, I could kind of see how it's going to ride. Coming in 12th is none other than STREAMLINER Coaster. This is the park's kiddie coaster, and it is pretty much their only main kiddie coaster right now. I know they are adding Kid Flash right next door. I did not get to experience it, but my younger sister did, and she said it was boring, so I'm just going to take her word for it. And yeah, it is in 12th place. Next up, we have Boomerang Coast to Coaster. This takes 11th spot for obvious reasons. This is a Vekoma Boomerang. It did get new trains fairly recently, I believe, but that still doesn't really make it run any better. I still think that Jolly Rancher Remix is more solid, and this thing felt just awful. I was in pain by the end of the ride, even though it is impossible to get head bag because there's vest restraints. I don't know what it is about this ride, but I despise Vekoma Boomerangs, and this one especially. The only good part about this ride is the first spike because you get pretty good views of the park, and the rest of the layout, like I said before, is just bad. I do not like this coaster, and I do think that all the rest of the coasters at Six Flags are way better than this. Batman the Ride is a cloned ride, and I did not get to experience this attraction, but I have experienced other 40 free spins, so I know exactly how this thing will be riding. I mean, this was the first ever one, so it'd be cool to get on it, but it was not open most of the day on my visit, and I didn't really feel like getting out of line for Rattler to go ride this thing. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say since I didn't ride it, but I'm just going to take my experiences on other 40 free spins. So, I do not like the restraints on the 40 free spins. I think they are very restrictive and tight. I do not really like the flips either. I mean, they're fine, but it's very uncomfortable if you do like a half flip kind of. I don't know, it's hard to explain unless you've ridden one, but these are very awkward coasters, and I don't really like them that much. So, yeah, that's why it is at the number 10 spot. Coming in at number 9 is Kid Flash Cosmic Coaster. Now, this is their new for 2023 Skyline Spaghetti Bowl coaster, and this honestly looks very, very enjoyable. I like the concept of a kiddie dueling coaster, and it actually looks very fun. I think it would be much better than the other coasters that I've already listed, but who knows? I don't know how these things will run because none have ever been built. So I am just very intrigued by this design, and I can't wait to see how this thing rides. So yeah, I think it is at number 9 just because the other coasters on this list have been kind of mediocre so far. I feel like this would be better than those. So yeah, let me know what you think of this concept of ride in the comments. Poltergeist is Six Flags Fiesta Texas's only launch coaster, and it comes in at number 8 because it is a Flight of Fear clone. I do not like these rides at all. They are crazy janky. I do like the station theming though. It is pretty cool. I also like how the ride ops mess with you a bit. But yeah, this ride is pretty fun on some of the transitions. But like I said before, a lot of the transitions are pretty jank. This ride doesn't really give that much airtime. It does pull good forces though, which is why it ranks this high on the list. The number 7 spot belongs to Pandemonium, a family spinning coaster, and honestly, this is the perfect family spinning coaster. I loved this ride, and so did my sister. She said it was her favorite roller coaster ever, which was very fun to hear. But man, this ride is so fun, especially if you ride it with your younger siblings. It's just fun to see their reaction. This is probably most kids' first spinning coasters, and I really think this is a solid spinning coaster too. It is way better than Laugh Track, which is my home park spinning coaster, and man, oh day. I was not expecting a family spinner to be this fun. I really did enjoy it, and so did everyone else in my family. So yeah, I really think this is a good ride for younger children, and it is pretty high on this list actually. It just tells you how good the fun factor is on this ride. Coming in at number 6, we have Roadrunner Express. This is one of the better family coasters I have ridden. It has sizable drops and some pretty nice turns and some little pops of floater airtime. This ride also directly interacts with Iron Rattler, which is a cool feature. It has little bits of theming along your journey and features 2 lift hills. This was the last Aero Mine train ever built, and it is probably their best one. An absolutely amazing ride. I was not expecting it to be this good, but here we are. It is up at number 6. Goliath is a cloned B&M invert, and this is a pretty solid ride. I was not expecting it to be this intense, and it was a pretty solid layout as well. The 0G roll and the corkscrew both had phenomenal whip, and both vertical loops were executed flawlessly. Overall, this layout is pretty intense, and the helixes and everything about this ride were just unexpected. With this ride standing just over 100 feet, I was not expecting this to be better than a lot of the other inverts I've ridden, such as Great Bear, which is a larger invert, but this one still beat it. The inversions are just so snappy, and the ride just works so well here at Fiesta Texas as the front gate coaster. I just really love the setting of this ride, and yeah, that's a lot that I have to say about this. I really did love this attraction, and it's crazy how it's only at the number 5 spot. Coming in at number 4, we have Dr. DIABOLICAL'S CLIFFHANGER. This is the world's steepest dive coaster, and I thought it was a pretty solid ride. Most dive coasters are a once and done, and I actually rode this a couple times because I thought it was better than a lot of other dive coasters, being better than a lot of the 200-foot ones like Valraven. This ride is pretty well executed, and the airtime hill actually gives some nice floater. I really did like the drop. It was pretty good, even in the front row. And I really did like the inversions as well. They were a lot more like of a flowy feeling rather than Goliath's very snappy inversions. But I like that. It gave some decent hang time, and this ride was just decent all around. Had a pretty good ride duration, and I really did enjoy this attraction. I think that Superman KRYPTON coaster is better than the world's longest floorless coaster, Dominator. I really love the interactions with the quarry wall and the very cool inversions. The vertical loop is one of the tallest in the world and gives some phenomenal hang time. I did like the back row in this ride because it had a little bit less of a rattle than the front, and it just gave a lot more whip on the 0G roll and the Cobra roll. The corkscrews at the end are probably the weakest part of the ride. I did not find them too good compared to some other floorless coasters and just other B&Ms in general, but I really did like the rest of the layout. I loved how it interacted with the quarry wall. Just with a lot of these attractions, they interact with it so well, and the drops off the quarry wall on this are insane. Like I mentioned before, the 0G roll is insane in the back. Overall, this ride is just flawless, and it's crazy to see that it's only at the number 3 spot. But that's because there are 2 RMCs in this park, and they both come in at 1 and 2. Coming in at number 2, we have Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster. This is an RMC single rail and the first one to open to the public. This ride has cartoonish pacing and some phenomenal airtime. I do not really like the restraints as much because I'm a taller rider, but that is just my preferences. This ride is just all around intense and has some good snappy transitions. I love this ride, and I bet you would too. This is definitely one of the best coasters that I've ridden. And of course, the best roller coaster at Six Flags Fiesta Texas is the RMC hybrid coaster Iron Rattler. This was the second coaster to be opened by Rocky Mountain Construction with their hybrid track, and I really did love this ride. I think it is a lot better than the newer RMCs in certain categories, but I think the newer RMCs are more solid rides. I really love the restraints on the Gerstlauer trains on this. It makes the ride experience a lot better, and better than a lot of RMCs. I really did like the overbank turns. I feel like that is the main focus of this ride. You see on top of both quarry walls, there are some overbank turns, and I think they are executed pretty well. I think the only one that's weak is the turn off the quarry wall, the first quarry wall interaction you have. There are 2 very underrated airtime moments, the camelback after the inversion and the camelback before the drop off the quarry wall, and the drop off the quarry wall is one of the best airtime moments I've experienced. This coaster also has the best drop on any RMC, in my opinion, well, at least ones that I've ridden. With a twisted drop, this thing just yeets you out of your seat in the back row. Overall, I think this is a very fun ride, and definitely one of the better rides that I've ever ridden. Anyways, Six Flags Fiesta Texas is one of my all-time favorite parks, and I really did enjoy my stay here. If you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you later with some more coaster content. Bye.